Welcome to our Culture Estate channel. Today we're going to talk about the 95-5 rule and how you can use it to improve your business. But before we do that, don't forget to join our community by hitting the subscribe button and also the notification bell. Now, let's jump right into it. Recently, I was watching one of my favorite shows, Impact Theory. They had a special guest on by the name of Tilman Fertitta. For those of you who don't know who he is, he became a billionaire in the restaurant industry, and most recently he acquired the Houston Rockets. He talked about how he's used the 95-5 rule to not only be great at what he does, but to be the best. Later on, I will be sharing with you my full feedback on this theory, but first, let's watch this video together.
Passion for you on both sides?
100%. I operate by the 95-5 rule. 95% of everything we do in business, if we're doing anything, is right, so look for the 5%.
Now, this is where he got my attention when he said this. He says that the 95-5 rule applies to most people in business. What he means by that is that we do 95% of everything pretty good. It's the 5% that really makes a big difference, a big impact. And that really couldn't be more truthful than anything else I've ever heard. It's really, really important in business to be able to make sure that you go that little extra to really make a difference.
The 5%, this is so powerful. And reading it in the book, I was like, okay, here we go. So how do you spot the 5%? How do you know what 5% matters? How do you prioritize how you attack that 5%?
Pay attention during this one.
Okay, well, let me just say this, okay? I walked into this studio, okay? And I've done a lot of interviews, and as soon as I walk in, your people greet you, they introduce, you know, this, you come up here, here's some snacks. There's even a camera light, so if they're doing your makeup up there, it's a perfect lighting. I could tell this guy has his act together. This guy, I'm having a hard time finding his 5% because they're doing everything right. And I'm not just saying that, but you know everything I'm saying is true. That you have somebody meet us outside, we're not walking around lost, so I hadn't found the 5% here. I'm sure before the show's over I will, but
it's there.
Okay, so I love what he says here because his mind is so programmed to always look for the 5% that people aren't doing right. I love that because I never walk around this way. I'm always very complacent with what we're working on. Like he mentioned, when he went to that studio, everything was perfect. The setup was perfect. The greeting was perfect. And I thought to myself, when we have guests here, do we greet them at the door? Do we give them directions on how to get here? Do we tell them where to park? You know, we really can always improve. And I learned just from this small segment how we can improve it in our business. So I love his mentality. And I really took that away from this interview, that you can actually go walking around through anything, restaurants, you can go to car dealerships, you can go to other real estate companies, you can go around and look to see what other people are doing wrong instead of always being caught up in what they're doing right. And that's what's actually going to take them to the next level. And subconsciously, sometimes we do this anyway. We sometimes walk out of a movie theater and like, wow, those floors were dirty, or a restaurant and the food wasn't as good as it's been before, the service wasn't on par. So actually the 5% actually has always been in our subconscious, but now we just have to open up our eyes to be able to notice it more often, and especially in the stuff that we're doing.
It's there for sure. I think you're right. Everybody has.
But I judged you and your operation the second I walked in, and it's no different if I'm pulling up to a retail store or a hotel or a restaurant or whatever. And before I get to the front door, I'm pulling up in that parking lot. Is the parking lot in pretty good shape? Are there weeds out there? Are there cigarette butts in the parking lot? Are there lights burn out? The front door's got a bunch of smudges on it. I haven't even walked in yet, and I can tell you this isn't a crisp operation.
I love what he says here because people do judge you by the way you carry yourself, the way your appearance is, the way if your car is dirty, if your office is dirty. There's so many things that sometimes we become so conditioned to, and then we don't see it anymore and we look at it as normal. But when people come and see our operation for the first time, they might say, wow, like he mentioned, maybe the weeds are growing, maybe the doors are dirty. Paying attention to that little thing may not mean much to you, but it means a whole world to anyone else who doesn't know you because it's the first appearance. It's the first anything they're going to get of you. So they're going to feel like this is the first impression, and I feel like this is a place where I can do business. So make sure that you think about those little things like he said. It's going to make a big change in anyone's mindset.
I can tell you everything, how the operation's going to be inside before I ever walked in the front door. Because if they're not taking care of the outside, the inside's not going to be good. And that's the same parallel that I used for the basketball team. We had a great year again. We won the most games we've ever won in a 2-year period in my first 2 years of ownership. But I sat down with the general manager and the head coach and my top basketball people and said, all right, we did 95% of everything right, but we didn't beat Golden State again. So what do we need to do? How do we improve that 5%? And we kicked it around, and that's when we decided that maybe there's an opportunity to be a little more athletic and getting a great transition player who can speed the game up and make us a better team like a Russell Westbrook. And so that was the 5% we were looking for. Changing out a few coaching positions, changing out a few other players. You're never going to be great if you don't look for the 5%.
Okay, so what he left us with is that you're never going to be great if you don't look for the 5%. A lot of times we have our meetings with our staff or with our clients or with anyone, and we always talk about the things that we have pending, the things that we're working on, and we never have the opportunity to talk about what are we doing wrong, what can be improved, and sometimes we're scared to ask because we may just find things that we don't like. I think that in every meeting that you have, you should be talking to everyone involved about what is not working, what can we do better, what do you feel can be improved upon, just like they did, because they didn't win the championship, but they found that there were certain flaws that can be improved upon, and they made some changes. They've switched around some people in different roles, and now they have a much better chance at winning the championship. So like he said, if you don't look for the 5%, you're never going to be great. I have total confidence in this. So what we do sometimes is we forget and become very accustomed to just being okay or being average. But if you really want to leave an impact, if you really want to make a change in the world, it starts from within. It starts with making a big change on the inside so you can be a better model and you can show other people that how you do just about anything is how you're going to do everything. Now let's dig a little deeper. So let's think about what the 95-5 rule really is. The 95-5 rule is just going the extra mile, doing a little bit more effort than what normal people do. That includes how you appear to other people, how you dress, how your car looks, how you conduct your customer service. It's just about everything. What you need to do is figure out, when have I always felt that a company has treated me great? Maybe it was buying your car and you felt it was a great experience. Maybe it was the way you were treated at a restaurant. Learn from those experiences, because that's what's going to leave an impact on your clients. It's going to leave an impact on the people you do business with. You have to start with making a list of everything you feel you do good, and then make a list of everything that you feel you can improve upon. And then you're not done yet. Ask the people in your circle, what do you feel that I can do better or that we can do better? Once you have your list, start working on the things that you're not doing right. Start working on those things that are going to make a difference. And start working on the things that are going to leave a huge impact on your client, and they're going to remember you always. Remember, a lot of times we work so hard to get that new client. We work so hard to make that new relationship, but we don't take care of the relationships we already have because we don't go the extra mile to service them after the sale is done. So go and do that extra 5% of the work, and that's what's going to make you stand out and be great. I am going to leave a link to Tilman's book in the description down below, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so you can be alerted whenever we do any new content. We are growing a great community, so I'd love to see you guys become a part of it. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time.